Hey guys, welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your Fanatics Score in your live show, Proteas Watch, where we talk about the Proteas in the IPL and see how they performed. I have my guest once again with me, Aditya, on the show to give us some crazy insights into the IPL. So I'm really excited to chat to him. But before we get going, let me just give you a quick overview of what actually happened. RCB obviously won by 10 runs in another nail-biting clash. We thought that Sunrisers Hyderabad would be clean through, but what actually happened is that a lot of wickets fell and there was a collapse. And then obviously, as you can see, RCB got their win. Now, Didya, give me your insights into it. Or what do you think about the game? What did you think about the whole vibe around it? Did you at one point feel a bit scared for RCB fans once again?
It was quite a roller coaster of a game, to be honest. Given how Devdutt Padikkal was playing in his IPL debut today,
Mm.
he was smashing it. And given how Finch and Devdutt Padikkal were going, it looked like they would have crossed 175, 180 maybe. But then 2 wickets in 2 balls, Padikkal and Finch out, and you've got Virat Kohli and AB de Villiers, the two star batsmen of the RCB, come in. And even at that point, it looked like they would have gotten to that 170 mark, but it was difficult for them to get going. And for about for 5 overs, from the 11th over to the 16th over, there was virtually no boundary. They were still scoring at 8 runs an over, but they were doing it through singles and doubles, and it was an exhibition of sort of how to adapt to a situation. So I think the lesson from that to be learned is that it's sort of difficult for new batsmen to come in and start launching straight away. So the set batsman needs to take more responsibility and sort of bat as deep as possible. But then Sunrisers came in, and Mr. David Warner, very unlucky to have gotten out the way he did. Um, but then it still felt like Bairstow and Manish Pandey would
Yeah,
sort of, they were cruising. So it looked like,
yeah.
they would take them home. But then it's T20, and yes, pressure takes over. One good over and things change. So, uh,
Yeah.
fantastic game. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic game. And I mean, obviously, I'm going to support RCB or try to support the team this season. Obviously, if we're going to be doing so many reviews of the shows, we might as well pick a team.
Yeah.
So RCB has been my team for quite some time. So
Yeah.
when I saw the start they got, I mean,
Yeah.
it felt familiar to me because at first, they always had a good batting lineup.
Yeah.
Um, and we know that something spectacular happened in the match. Obviously, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, AB de Villiers hit his 206 en route to his 30 ball 51, which was quite phenomenal for South Africans. And it's good to see AB that he still has it. Some magnificent shots. What stood out to me about his innings particularly was the way him and Virat Kohli ran between the wickets. After those two
Yeah.
wickets fell in quick succession, they kind of got together and they just decided, okay, let's just run between the wickets. The chemistry that they have, even though that they don't play together in international sides and etc. Obviously,
Mhm.
they don't play together a lot, but the chemistry that they have is unbelievable. The understanding, for us to be able to see two quality players play like that, it's like Messi and Ronaldo. It's like the dream of team. Like watching Messi and Ronaldo play together in one team, that would be a dream for any football fan. Here we are in an era where we can see AB de Villiers and Virat Kohli, like playing together in a team for so many years.
Definitely. It's a dream, and I think they've been playing together for close to 10 years now.
Mm.
But what was interesting about today's innings is that obviously both cricketers have come in after a long time away from the game, and there wasn't really a hint of rustiness.
Mm.
I think if anything, that the main challenge was to clear the longer boundaries, because this is a significantly bigger ground than the Chinnaswamy that they usually play at.
Yeah.
And to be able to see them adapt, they knew that it wasn't going to be very easy to clear the boundaries, and it was an example for young budding cricketers to see how two greats of the game adapted to a situation, and they were able to get to a T20 run rate of 8 runs and over, just playing risk-free cricket, just running singles and doubles. It was incredible.
Yeah. And it's something that I've picked up since. Okay, we obviously had that 3TC that you know about that we had. It's like a form of cricket, but
Yeah,
it's interesting to see that it was more bowlers that are rusty. Like we saw it with KG
yes,
Rabada a little bit, not so much with KG as much as sorry Steyn, and as much as with Lungi and Gidi.
yeah,
We saw that little bit of rustiness in the first few overs for Lungi early on in the weekend, on the
yeah.
weekend, and obviously with Steyn a bit, we could see a little bit of rustiness in his bowling as well. My heart was in my chest, obviously, when I saw that he's going to take the last over, because we know as South African fans in previous times when he had to defend lands, we know that's a heartbreaking time for us. And I think people will exit the stream after they hear that. But I think he bowled decently in the last over. At least he got a wicket to close the go of the game. When they hit that ball, I thought, look here, this might be going for six. This might be a little repeat of that World Cup final.
I know how you feel. Yeah, actually, to be honest, I felt like the first two overs were okay. He went at 6.5 runs and over for 2 overs, and given a T20 game, new ball and batsmen are looking to take advantage of new ball.
Yeah.
I think they've come to realize that it's the part of the game where they can dominate for those first 5 overs, because then the spinners are going to rein it in. So I think batsmen have come to that realization that whatever they do, they need to make the best use of the first 5 overs. That said, I think dropping Johnny Bairstow's catch, when Bairstow was cruising, I think that played on Dale Steyn, because I think 2 balls after he started his third over, and he went for a lot of runs in that over. So that played on his mind, my view, and he appeared visibly frustrated. When a couple of boundaries went Bairstow was way, and
Yeah.
yeah, that didn't go very well for him. But it was good to see that he came back in the last over and he was able to close out with a wicket for sure.
Yeah. I was looking at that catch and I was like, wow, it's like he just lost the ball completely. They were talking about that going from the lights and then into the darkness and then coming back.
Yeah,
But I mean, it was uncharacteristic for Dale Steyn, I think, for that particular thing to happen. I think. What do you think of his hairstyle, by the way? I know this is completely off topic.
definite indication that he's been through a long period of lockdown. That's for sure.
Yeah, I feel
But
like
good on him.
yeah, I feel like it takes over a little bit away from his menacing like look. Like when he comes
Yeah,
running down at the wicket at you and looks at you. I mean, normally you get that fear, but I think it gives him like almost like it gives. I don't know how, but the hairstyle sometimes gives a person a different type of aura or different type of attitude. But I mean, okay, a decent performance by Dale. Obviously, I think he will improve. It's so good to see that he can still that he still has the energy for this, because I think that him
definitely.
and AB de Villiers are very important to South Africa. So hopefully that they can stay this for throughout the tournament. We're just going to wait on for a couple of callers if they're going to come call in. Guys,
Sure.
if you are watching right now and you want to call in, you just send your us an email and we'll send you the link. All you do is click on the link and that's how you join in. Please wear earphones if you're using a mobile device or a laptop. It will help a lot. But we'll make it work if you don't have any available to you right now. But let's talk a little bit more about AB. I thought that that AB was phenomenal in the way that he structured his innings. Now I think that he would have gotten a lot more, and if at the end over there, um, I think his partner was Dube. How do you pronounce it? Is that how you
Yeah,
pronounce it? Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Cool. So yeah. So he was kind of stealing the strike a bit, and we wanted AB to hog the strike a bit. And there was a couple of overs there towards the end. I think it was in the 16th, 17th over where AB should have farmed the strike, and he didn't get that opportunity to. He kind of wasted a couple of balls actually, because AB could have really taken it away there and really surpassed his 50 quite deep, and then wouldn't put out a lot of pressure on him. Um,
Yeah.
but with regards to De Villiers, I mean, how do you think he just turns it out like that every single week in, week out, or year in or year out, I should say?
He's a genius. I think there's no other way to put it. He's a genius who works incredibly hard at his game. He is supremely fit, and I think he's at that stage in his career where he's got that balance right. He's got enough time with his family. He spends a lot of time in South Africa, and he played in the Big Bash last year, and now he's played in the IPL. So he's got just the right amount of cricket going to be able to sustain these sort of performances. Because he did something similar in the BBL as well. Where he put on a masterclass for the Brisbane Heat, and I guess the only question on everyone's mind was that why is this man not playing international cricket? He still looks a cut above the rest. So he's brilliant, and the way he played today, it almost felt like he was striking at 172, and he made it look like a walk in the park because the way he and Virat were running, and suddenly you look at the scorecard and he's already made like 35. That's incredible stuff. And then of course he launches 2 6s into the stands, makes up his 200 and 201st six. So yeah, incredible stuff. He's a genius. I don't know how else to put it. And I think came in at the right time. He came in with 10 overs to go. So I think he had enough time to sort of, just get his eye in a bit and then launch when he could.
But come on, I think you're gonna have to be the guy that takes me through the youngsters. You're obviously gonna make me aware of all the youngsters in India. But come on, Padikkal, wow! Like, where did that come from? I mean, did you know that he would put in a performance like this at some point? Obviously, nobody predicts a debut like that. But would you have predicted that he'll turn up like this at some point in the tournament?
Definitely. In fact, he was with the squad all of last season as well, but he didn't get much of an opportunity. He didn't get an opportunity to play at all. And he's been on the radar for quite a while, actually. He's been churning out big runs in domestic cricket, as have a couple of other players, and he's literally it's almost a given that he's going to play for India at some point. There's no question about it. And the fact that he's a left-hander, it gives him an advantage, because you look at the current Indian batting lineup, and I think up until number 6 or number 7, we don't have a left-hander in the Test squad. Yeah, that's definitely going to be an advantage for him. And where he just looked to dominate from the first over, incredible stuff.
Cool. So we have our first caller waiting for us in the back end. It's Arno van Sail. So welcome to the show, Arno.
Hey, thank you very much. Nice to be here, guys. It's a lovely Monday evening in Johannesburg.
Yeah, you're in Cape Town as well, because I mean, I'm trying to like do something new over here with a live stream after some games, and obviously this is the Proteas Watch. As you can see on the bottom of the screen, we're talking about AB. What did you think about AB, first of all? Obviously, as a South African, you must be brimming, like smiling over here about this performance.
Well, it's almost like when it comes to AB, you expect him to be near perfect every time you go out, but we forget that excellence and brilliance is same as with golfers. Even the best golfers in the world have off days, and it's the consistency and the talent and the expectation that he's able to carry through with, shall we say, the difficulty around his career at this current stage, representing his country and making sure that, his family is looked after, understanding that his fan base is bigger outside of South Africa, but that his real fans are actually the people that root for him in the country, which is aligned with his wish to win a World Cup for us. I think sometimes it might have been too much, but regardless of all that I've been speaking now, things that could really distract one, and as it probably did for him for a temporary time, he's just bouncing back as if there has been nothing going on. There's no COVID, there's no challenges. It's just a great day for cricket, and AB is just, not reproving himself is maybe the wrong word, but just being AB. That's just lovely to see AB being AB. I guess after all said and done, AB is being AB, and we like it.
Yeah, because I mean, we know that Mark Boucher had a few words at multiple times at different press conferences saying that if AB wants to come back, you'll take him back with open arms. There's always a space back for AB. Basically, that's what he's saying. From your perspective as a fan, because there are some fans, including myself at first. I was one of the fans that said that he needs to kind of, we know it's AB de Villiers and we know what he's capable of. But he needs to build some form, and he needs to show that he wants to play for South Africa again, and not just like expect that he's going to play for South Africa again. From your perspective, how do you feel? Do you think AB this should be in the side? There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I believe it's exactly as you say. Regardless of a player's past and his performance, yes, of course you have your diamond once in a generation player that some contingent of your fan base would say, look, he doesn't have to prove himself. You're going to insult him by saying that. But I'm a firm believer that everybody needs to be treated by the same hand, especially with the background timeline and decisions that AB has been made. So I think he's the first to say, look, if I'm good enough, I'd like to be chosen. I also believe the PR around his re-inclusion could maybe be improved from a CSA perspective. It sounds like it's up to just the team captain and himself to always answer these difficult questions, and I'd like to see some support from CSA as well going forward, because we all know that it's a chicken and egg situation with that contingent who's maybe not supporting AB because of retiring prematurely, shall we say, from an international test career. And I believe the way to that chicken and egg is a situation where he can only redeem himself with that fan base and the entire country by getting that long-awaited World Cup back. So he needs to be included in the team in order to redeem himself. It's a chicken and egg situation, and the way to at least bridge, the ones who believe that he has been too prima donna-esque in his decision making is to say Cricket South Africa can just buy a little bit of time to say, look, just hold out on AB. A lot of people are, not always knowing what the future holds, and the past, we don't know what happened, but we know we have a once in a generation player, and if you love cricket and you are a fan because of the love of cricket, give him a chance and then make up your mind after that. And that's what I'd like to see.
That's a perfect way to end it. Thank you a lot for coming on the show. I hope you can come back in the future. We have loads of shows we're going to have call-ins, and I hope you'll put your name in the hat again.
Very happy to do so. Love the work that you are doing. And although I'm not always actively participating in your events and your podcasts, I do follow that from time to time. Thanks to Abba, who keeps me in the loop. I'd love to be coming back if I can add value to the conversation, which I believe is extremely true, especially for the type of cricket fan that we have in South Africa. Some just want, patriotism to rule and, the past, and the others are true informed cricket fans, and none are more important than the other. Every fan is just as important, but we need to be able to speak to both. And I believe you are trying, definitely succeeding in more than one way where others are trying to do the same.
Thank you very much for the kind words. We'll speak to you again very soon.
100%, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye. So we'll get to the next fan on the show. Aditya, I'm going to give you the reins for this one. Maybe you can just ask him first what he thought about the game. But I'm going to give you the questions to him this time, so we can afterwards with the last caller, we can hassle the last caller. Both of us. Okay, cool. So let's bring on the next. Just introduce yourself to the fans, please. Welcome to the show.
Hey guys, myself Anurag, and I'm from India. And I just saw the post from Abai in one of the groups, and I've come in to chat with you guys.
Okay, that's awesome. Aditya, over to you.
Good to see you, mate. What did you think of the game today? In particular, what did you think of Devdutt Padikkal and sort of debut made today?
So with people following him in the Ranji Trophy and other domestic leagues, people actually know about him. They were actually waiting for him to perform in India itself. Like if you see the Chinnaswamy crowd, if the matches were happening in India, people would have loved to see his blitzkrieg innings. But this came as a surprise to many. They didn't expect him to play a matured innings like this, but he was very good in the power play overs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think this is RCB's best opportunity to win? This is their most balanced squad, and I think the team that they put out today had all the ingredients. They had like solid batting. It appeared as if there wasn't the sort of pressure on Virat and AB as there has been on the past, and they also seem to be a lot more relaxed today. What did you think?
You could see that relaxed nature in between them, but there were still loopholes really visible in their team. Because when you see the team selection, people expected Moeen Ali to play in the first place, because you expect the UAE pitches to turn and bounce, but they brought in Josh Phillip, who actually didn't have a good game actually today. But again, you needed an extra bowling option. If not Moeen Ali, then at least Morris as an option. But then again, the death bowling didn't look as great. So you could see the little loopholes there. But as the tournament progresses, probably they can improve and probably they can go for the cup actually.
Can I throw a question in here quickly? I just want to ask you about AB, and obviously we are very Proteas-driven website and a Proteas-driven channel. I want to ask you about AB in India. Like we hear about it, but we never experience it. So this is from your perspective, AB in India, and in regards to the IPL, what is it like to actually see him in action, and what is the buzz around him in the country?
So back in 2019, when I was fortunate enough to witness a match in the Chinnaswamy Stadium, when I expected people to shout Virat Kohli and cheer for other players, you could see ABT echoing all around the ground. That is actually a once in a million thing. I mean, you'll have to witness it there. That is one of the things you'll have to witness when you're in Bangalore. People cheering as a foreign player when it comes to Indian players, that is a great thing to witness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because obviously we know that they can't really walk around outside. We've heard about those stories. I mean, over here, if you come to South Africa, you can have AB de Villiers walking in okay, let's maybe not use AB. Probably people will recognize him. But I remember very clearly one day, we have like this market where it's like a food market basically. And Aiden Markram, Dean Algo, Chris Morris were all chilling there, sitting down, having a cup of coffee and chilling and having a bite to eat. And nobody saw them. And I was walking past them and I was like, has nobody come up to you asking for a signature yet? They were like, and then finally someone actually came up to them and noticed them, a small boy. And I'm so happy that is what it's like, because we are trying to change that in the country, obviously. It's phenomenal how you guys, how everybody supports cricket in India. And someone made a comment on Twitter. Bilal made a comment on Twitter about the structure that you guys have to be able to bring young cricketers through. It's phenomenal. From your perspective as a fan, what do you think that you guys are doing right? Besides the fact that obviously you have a lot of people that play cricket, and it's over 1 billion people in India, and majority of people play cricket. Besides that, what do you think you guys are doing right from that structure?
Okay, so I think one thing is that we've got a lot of former cricketers who are part of the system to develop budding cricketers. So Rahul Dravid has been coach of India A, he's been coach of the India under-19 team, and right now he's director of the National Cricket Academy, which is in Bangalore. So that plays a huge part, and he's created this infrastructure for younger cricketers, whereby he's emphasized the importance of Ranji Trophy. And over the years, since the IPL has come in, a lot of the money that is made through the IPL, it's pumped back into the domestic system. So in this day and age, we can actually have a cricketer focus entirely on cricket without having to worry about the financial ramifications. And I think that's helped incredibly in bringing players such as Prithvi Shaw, who also comes from middle class background, as do most of our players. I think in Indian cricket history, perhaps the only cricketer who's come from some sort of wealth has been Sourav Ganguly. So, I think we have that coming in. That really helps. And then, of course, we have the IPL. Sorry, I must mention one more thing. Rahul Dravid made it a rule that every under-19 cricketer will only get to play one World Cup. So the focus there is not exactly, of course, they all go out to win the World Cup and play the best that they can. But the idea is to use it as a platform to develop players, expose them to pressure, and give as many players an opportunity to get that sort of exposure, so that when they come into the India A team, they're better equipped, they're fitter. Now we've got, I think back in the day in the 90s and early 2000s, we never really said that, the Indian team is a great fielding team, or the Indian team is particularly fit. But today we can say that. So there has been that change in culture, and it sort of trickled down from the Indian Test team down to the NCA and Ranji Trophy teams and so on. So that's definitely helped.
Yeah. And Anurag, is there anybody from your side that you're excited to see now from a South African perspective, first of all? And then you can maybe name one or two youngsters that you're really excited to see from an Indian perspective.
So, like Aditya said, the Indian cricket management made sure to blood them young so that by the time they come into the rigors of Test cricket, they're actually fully developed. We probably didn't do the mistakes which Australia did, like lose out on Michael Hussey or people who came after their 30s into the international arena and then started showing some progress. So if you see the youngsters now, I'm really excited about Shubman Gill as well. As Aditya said, Prithvi Shaw is in the mix, but I'm really excited about this guy, Shubman Gill. When Brendan McCullum kind of player actually is excited about this youngster, then there is really something about this guy.
Yeah, cool. Thanks a lot for calling in. I hope you can come on another show in the future. We're going to be doing this after a Proteas watch, basically after every single game that we can find that South Africans have performed in. So don't expect me to be able to, because I have other shows to run as well. So I have to market this right and do this in the right way. So thanks for coming on the show, and we'll see you again soon.
Yep. Bye, Aditya. Bye.
Cheers, man. Good to see you.
Cheers. Bye. So one more caller left. The drum roll, guys. We've got our fan all the way from the USA.
How's it, guys? How's everyone doing?
How's it, man? Good to see you.
Yeah, great to be back. So let's just get into it. I think it was quite a pleasant surprise. I mean, as an RCB fan, I've backed them since the IPL first began. So it's been quite the experience, to be honest, seeing them come up so close and then lose it. But today, I think it was a much better performance. It's great to see AB de Villiers back in the runs. It's quite a breath of fresh air.
I think RCB is probably the only team in the IPL that doesn't have a significant home advantage. You look at the Chinnaswamy Stadium. It's the flattest track in the country, and it's the smallest stadium in the country. There's not much a home team can do to capitalize on that. And at some point, I felt like it was very difficult for them to pick, a set of bowlers or a set of batsmen that could possibly justify that, because you wonder that, okay, this is a great batting track. Should I really spend should I spend a significant part of the auction purse on batsmen, on explosive batsmen, which is what they did for a considerable period of time. Then they felt like in 2014-15, when they spent a lot of money on Mitchell Stark and then Chris Jordan and so on, all-rounders. Like Shane Watson came in 2016. But I think this time, given that, UAE grounds are a bit bigger and, they seem to have a bit more like bowling ammunition, this, to me, it feels like it's their best chance to win the IPL.
Yeah, I think, the weird thing I found today was they left their most expensive signing on the bench. I really don't know why Chris Morris wasn't playing. And I was really surprised when they gave Josh Phillippe a game. I mean, considering he doesn't have a whole lot of experience, and naturally, I think he'd find the IPL a bit challenging. Like, I wasn't sure if he's totally prepared, but that's pretty much just how I felt. I mean, his wicket keeping wasn't quite good, and he normally bats at the top of the order. And considering they had the Indian youngster Padikkal and Aaron Finch doing well, I can't see him batting at the top of the order. And then again, you have Virat Kohli and AB de Villiers, so that's pretty much a lock top four.
Yeah, definitely. But
I felt like this... Is it only me or you guys breaking up?
I think...
Is the connection a bit poor?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Oh no, it's pretty good where I am. Every time I step outside, the connection's a lot better over here.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Okay. I was just double checking. I maybe had to change my Wi-Fi. Cool. I wanted to ask you as well about, because, and to add you, Aditya, as well, what I've noticed is it's like RCB, like a lot of people say RCB is cursed because they always had their strong batting lineup and then they've suffered with regards to bowlers. Then they sort out their bowling, and then they suffer today with their fielding. And then it's always something that they have to like overcome. It's almost like there's hurdles put in front of them on purpose, like the gods above putting hurdles in front of them, saying like, you guys have the most talented squad, so you have to fight for it.
Yeah, do you wanna go for it, or should I?
No, you can go first. You can go first. Yeah.
Okay. I think that it's such a tricky situation because like I said, they've got the sort of conditions whereby I think the Rajasthan Royals would prefer playing in Bangalore than they would in Jaipur, because Jaipur is a bigger ground. You don't get the 200 and 220 sort of scores in Jaipur, and like Bangalore also has a certain amount of dew. So there's a lot depending on the toss, and you lose the toss, a part of the result is dictated there right away. So sometimes it feels like unless Bangalore score like 220 or 30 in the first innings, which obviously isn't possible every single time, they're going to lose. And that's an unfortunate position to be in. But that said, I think over time, perhaps they could have sort of reviewed their auction strategy, because again in 2014 they spent like a couple of $1 million on Yuvraj Singh, who at the time was in the sunset of his career, and it was unnecessary because he wasn't going to be like the sort of strike bowler that they needed in the depth, and that's where the focus should have been. Harsha Bogle put it brilliantly. He said that Virat and AB have been those giant trees in the RCB camp that have sort of not allowed the other smaller trees to grow.
I'll never forget. Scoring scores of 200 and odd, and they can't defend it. I was like, what is going on here? I was like, but anyway, Abai, you can give your thoughts.
Yeah, I think if we were to look at this year's auction, I think the Royal Challengers have done a significantly better job than earlier, as Aditya pointed out. So we got Chris Morris. I mean, some may say he's overrated, but then again, his IPL record it's not bad at all, and it's great to see Dale Steyn back in the thick of things. He may be 37, but I think he's still very good, and he can be deadly accurate from time to time. We also have Isuru Udana. I think he can be very handy at the death. He's got a few variations up his sleeve. So I'd like to say I feel quietly confident about this year, but I don't want to jump the gun. Yeah.
I think that the key thing for RCB is how they're going to manage their international players. I think that's the most difficult part for them, when they're going to pick who and at what time and what all of those things, because they have so many people of talent like they have currently. I mean, so much talent in that side. It's going to come down to team selection, I feel, and that's where they're going to win it or lose it. But yeah. So guys,
they also need to persist with the same team for 6 or 7 games. I think if there's one thing that RCB has been guilty of,
there's no need to fix something that isn't broken.
Yeah.
Like if you have a winning combo, you might as well just stick with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. So, Abai, I just want to ask you one thing. Who do you think, from your perspective, would be RCB's most difficult opponent?
Just looking at past history and how things have gone, I'd like to believe it's either Chennai or Mumbai. But then again, we have been able to beat them in the past, and it's not impossible to beat them either. But yes, I say CSK and Mumbai as the top two toughest opponents for RCB.
Yeah, sorry, I'm laughing because we have a special guest a surprise guest in the back end of here that we haven't seen on a video platform for quite some time, and one of Abai's best mates as well, and that is Ravi Reddy.
Hey, what's up, man?
I'm
just gonna switch the screen for you so you can see his tag quickly. Maybe back in SA.
Now you've got California, you've got Mumbai, you've got Johannesburg. It looks like a CNN conference right now.
Yeah, we had Anu earlier on the show.
South Africa.
We had Anu early on in the show. Maybe we should just bring him back again. I think he's still at the back end of here. Let's see if we can bring him on and let's have a proper discussion now about everything. I think, welcome back, Anu. Let's just have a proper discussion.
We're all here. Perfect.
Now we're
yes.
all here.
Everybody. I think there's room for one more.
Yeah, there is, but unless he left already, I thought you would wait and listen to the rest of the conversation.
Guys, who are we going to add next to make it 6?
I don't think we need to. I think AB is the 6th person in the room that we need to talk about. So let's just go around. Obviously, Aditya, from your point of view, you've already expressed what you feel about AB, and Anu also did the same thing. Let's hear from you first, Ravi. I'm going to ask Anu a different question that might be perfect. So, Ravi, from your perspective, after seeing a performance like that, or even seeing the highlights, if you caught the highlights on the site, what do you think of AB de Villiers? Is he ready and ripe for South African cricket again?
Yeah, no, AB, no question. He still got it. You know me for a while now that I'm a huge advocate for AB de Villiers. I want him to come back. Even though that our T20 batting lineup doesn't look too bad at the moment, I think we will benefit from his level of experience. He's not called Mr. 360 for no reason. And the reality is that he's outperformed his met expectations. He's exceeded expectations, actually. I know a lot of people were hating on him before the tournament even started, and he put off something beautiful like that. And I think we need to see more of it. I think I'm pretty certain that Graham Smith and Mark Boucher are having serious conversations, if not already had serious conversations with AB of potentially coming back to the team.
We've had loads of debates. We've had loads of debates, obviously, about this. And obviously, you know my point of view about the whole thing. We've had talks about, because my whole concern is if AB comes back into the South African lineup, it means Rassie misses out. And Rassie misses out.
Yeah.
And I mean,
mission.
yeah, because I mean, like, Rassie is one of our best players. I don't know if we can maybe shift him down, maybe even for AB, Rassie batting 5 and AB batting 4.
We're also forgetting the fact that Faf is also one of our best T20 batsmen as well. I think Aditya mentioned something to that effect the other day as well. So I think Faf as well, we have to consider him as a serious contender for a spot in the World Cup team. I wouldn't go to a World Cup without him.
Yeah. I'm just going to remove this banner from Abbas' face. There we go. So magic poof. Okay, so
at least get a sponsor like Doritos or something and put it near Abbas. So it makes the brand look more appealing. You know?
Abbas is supposed to go sponsor hunting. You should go soon, maybe. You should go some sponsor hunting in the USA. The USA has all the money, man. The USA has all the money.
Gatorade? Where's Pepsi? where are these guys? Come on, man. Go talk to them. In fact, Aditya, you go talk to them too. I mean, Pepsi is quite big in India, so I mean, come on. Hook a brother.
I'll do my best.
That's what I like.
So Abbas, I want to ask you particularly about, I know that you were very interested in the kind of the under 19 levels, etc. Now, I'm going to ask a very weird question over here. So I made a joke basically on Twitter from the Cricket Fanatics Mag account saying that Jonathan Bird is better. Jonathan Bird is greater than Padikkal. So I made a small joke because I mean obviously they would have played against each other at some points for under 19s, etc. And Jonathan Bird is kind of like our big hitter, big 6-foot guy, big hitter in this country in South African cricket.
Like a future buff.
Yeah, he's a massive unit of a guy. He's
a big boy. Big boy. Likes his ball tongue.
Yeah, Abai, from your perspective, who are some of the under 19 guys that you think would be potential from a South African perspective, potentially be in the IPL in a couple of years' time? Who do you think will do that?
Wait. First of all, you're able to hear me properly, right?
Yeah, perfectly.
Oh, okay. I don't know. My stream froze for a little bit, but okay. Let me get into it. So, I would definitely say out of this year's bunch, Gerald Coetzee. He can bowl really fast. He can hit a few big ones down the order. I think he definitely has what it takes to make it to the IPL in like 2-3 years, maybe. So that's one. And then not a lot of names are coming to my mind right now. but I think the front runner I feel is Gerald Coetzee.
Okay, cool. And Aditya, from your I don't know how much you've watched of the under-19 World Cup, etc. I know we were very disappointing. But what is your thoughts? Who do you think, from South Africa's point of view, maybe not under-19s, because obviously me and you spoke to someone like Matthew Brzezinski, someone like Marco Jansen, in that age group, besides them obviously, but maybe in that age group or above. Who do you think are the next youngsters in South African cricket that you think would be able to fit the bill to play IPL in a couple of years' time?
Actually, I'd seen a little bit of Gerald Coetzee from the Under-19 World Cup, and he definitely seems like an interesting prospect. But I think, to talk from an IPL point of view, I'm actually going to talk about an international, and I think it's weird that Aiden Markram doesn't have an IPL contract.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
Of course, I understand that generally a lot of IPL franchises are looking at experienced overseas openers, and there are a lot of them going around. But to me, Aiden Markram definitely needs to have an IPL contract, because he's too good not to be playing in these conditions.
It's an interesting one.
We talked about.
I just thought of one more name. He's not a under-19 player of this year, but I would also say Sinetemba Shile. I hope I got that click right.
Hey, whoa! Where did that one come from?
Yeah. Wait, that was correct, wasn't it?
That was right. Yeah.
Yes.
That is more than correct. I think you're very close to getting a political space in South Africa. I think they're going to nominate you for president at some point. Be prepared for that.
But I found it that he was really unlucky not to get a chance to bat in the 2 T20 games he played.
Yeah.
In fact, that was the reason for why he was picked. Like he has serious potential, and I think compared to his first season for the Warriors, I don't believe he was in that good form, relatively speaking, in the most recent season. But I hope he can up his game, and I think he eventually will be good enough. I mean, he can hit hard, and he's pretty handy behind the stumps. So I guess it's just a matter of time. It all depends on how fast he improves.
Because has been touted as like a future Protea wicketkeeper batsman because of his in the media. His wicket-keeping technique has gotten quite a lot of praise. So he's quite a big name. I've read about him quite a lot.
Yeah, you see, he's someone that I've always seen as a longer format player. Actually, I mean, the first time I saw him play was at Kayamajolo Week, and he was playing in the longer format. He was playing time cricket. It wasn't in the shorter formats that I saw him. That he stood out to me. It was just because, I mean, South Africa gave him his first opportunity, obviously, to be part of the T20 squad. And that's the reason why everybody just helped on the bandwagon and said, oh, T20 cricket. But I particularly think that he should get his debut rather at a test level before he'll get his chance as a T20, from my opinion. Just from the style of cricket he plays. I feel that he's the type of guy that likes to take his time at the crease, and bide his time at the crease and then play shots through the covers, etc. I just want to, before we move on from that, I just want to talk to Arno's back again. I'm just going to ask him one particular question I really wanted to, if he can come back. Cool, awesome. You can hear us perfectly, right?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly. It's always a case where your guest Wi-Fi needs to be rerouted once you know your neighbors are tuning in. I suppose one of those things. Apologies.
No problem. So what I want to ask you is Dale Steyn. So you obviously spoke about AB in quite in depth early on in the podcast. What about Dale Steyn? Do you think that he still has it? Do you think he still has the ability to maybe play it? Because obviously South Africa is currently sitting with some great fast bowlers, and they're all playing in the IPL. Kagiso Rabada, Lungi Giri, Anrich Nokia. Do you think Dale Steyn has an opportunity to maybe gun for that position, for a spot?
I'd say, actually, it might be controversial for me saying this as a huge fan of Dale Steyn, but I'd say I'd like to say no. And the reason for me saying that is not because of Dale Steyn ability, but I'd like to see him play a similar role than what Joel Cullis is doing. You will see that he probably is selected for RCB to do a lot of skills transfer. I'm pretty sure that that's almost the unsigned mandate or main reason that he is in this team. What I am suggesting as well is that he's still good enough to deliver on the day, but with the point of view of looking at a World Cup, which is a tournament of 8 matches if we go to the final, I think it's a bit of a risk to take him as a frontline bowler and expecting him to deliver for 8 consecutive matches. Now, and this is not concerning his ability, but it's concerning just normal logistics for a fast bowler of his age who does bowl that fast. It's amazing how long he has been injury-free, and he still has got it. Don't get me wrong. But what I am suggesting is that Dale Steyn, if we look at last year's World Cup, Dale Steyn was selected to go, wasn't he? And then he got injured. So we were left with the tail between the legs. Luckily, he could provide some mentorship, which I think went quite well with Ngidi and Pegukwayo's first World Cup. But what I would like to mention is that when he got injured, our plans sort of had to change dramatically, and we didn't really have that reshuffling ability. I think because of the player management that Rabada also, or the lack of player management that Rabada had. I think Rabada was the fourth most, bowled the fourth most overs of anybody between the 2 World Cups of 2015 and 2019, and he was the only non-spinner in the top 5 in terms of.
Yeah, in terms of work, I think it's in terms of workload that he's talking about. We're talking about the amount of workload that KG actually had. It's phenomenal for his age. And I think we have lost Arno, but we kind of get his point and what he was trying to say. Very awesome points. And I'm hoping that we're going to get him in the future again to come on the show, because we really need to, we're running out of time now and we need to kind of like this wrap things up. But Ravi, I'm just going to give you one last thing to say with regards to what is my question now? I can't believe I lost it. So okay, so so the question I wanted to ask you, Ravi, is
you're not asking me out on a date, Khalid. It's about cricket. Come on.
Yeah, I'm so nervous. Yeah, so when I see your face, Ravi, I get nervous. Look, so from your perspective, who is some of the guys that you think was snubbed? That was the question I wanted to ask you, and I wanted to ask Hanu this as well. Hanu, give me a thumbs up if you're okay to come on, and I can ask you this question as well. Okay, cool. But Ravi, just give me, who do you think one of the South African players that was snubbed, that didn't have an opportunity? We asked Aditya this, and we asked Abai this in the previous show. Guys that missed out on the tournament, from this current tournament, from a South African point, for the IPL.
For the IPL. I may be mistaken here because I haven't looked at all of the rosters, but it has Andile Pegukwayo not been picked as yet. He hasn't.
No, he hasn't. No,
he hasn't. So I feel that he's one guy that should have been considered a spot, because I remember 2 years in a row he was in the draft, but they never picked him. No side actually ended up taking him, and I felt that he was kind of outdone him. I thought he's a quality player. I think he would excel under those conditions. Obviously, they're playing in Dubai at the moment. I just feel that he's a fantastic player.
Look, you'll recall Andile's first series was a bilateral series against Australia when Australia was rated number 1 in 2016. That was ODIs, of course.
That's right.
If it wasn't, and it was the first time we ever whitewashed the Australians in ODIs. And in 3 of those matches, he was a contender for the man of the match, or basically he steered us home, either with the bat or the ball. And that's what got my attention to Andile in a way that I started to really notice him excelling, especially with the eyes on a World Cup, winning the big moments, the BMT type of player. So his stats does him no harm at all. However, I really enjoyed how many times he took the game by the scruff of the neck, when the odds were against him. I believe he's got when we played in 2018 against India, the only one-day international we won in that series was because he hit 21 from 4 balls, which is still a world record. The fastest 20
That's incredible.
So and that was to win it, not because he felt like swing and a miss. So it's I
He's
rate him
definitely
very highly
capable.
on the. Yes, for World Cups, as a long-suffering Protea since the 90s, I'm starting to look out for the BMT players because we had it, but we didn't cherish those. So for me, he's a
Yeah.
must. But
I would agree with you. I agree. In fact,
Thank you.
I don't know if you guys recall, South Africa played New Zealand in the round robin game, and Faf actually gave Adile the last over to bowl. And that for me spoke volumes, because obviously there's a lot of trust in the team for the
Agreed.
caliber and quality of Andile Feklokwaya. I think he's got a lot more to prove, but it's only like a few inches really for him to really come to the party fully. I think he's there. I think that's why I say, you asked me who I think was snubbed. Definitely Andile Feklokwaya should have been in this IPL. Just very quickly, I just felt that. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, I agree. But if there's one 30-second slot, I just would like to nominate one player which I would have liked to see as well. But let me first wait until the end and let you finish. Sorry about interjecting.
No problem. Well, it might be the same player for all I know, but in my
You never
mind,
know.
I think Temba Bavuma, the T20 player, is somebody that I would have loved to have seen in the IPL. I think he's more than capable at in this particular format.
Yeah, so Ravi, you cheated now, so you gave 2. I know. I'll take it that you agreed with him on Adile. So what's your second player that you would say?
So I'm putting this out there. It's actually somebody that not many would have a finger on their buzzer, but I believe in the 2018 domestic momentum one-day series, our top scorer, or the second highest scorer, but the highest average was from a very young guy called Louis de Villiers. And he was snatched up by Derbyshire just like that as a Kolpacker, I think as a 19-year-old or a 20-year-old already. And, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think he's playing the IPL, but you should have a look at his List A and his T20 averages and strike rate. It would put Jason Roy and Josh Butler to shame as a youngster already. Okay. Now, we're talking about bolstering our batting lineup and succession planning and all of that. If I'm, the Proteas selectors, I would say, look, Kolpak is gone, mate. So you coming back here, and I'm telling you now, he will never say no if he knows Jock Cullis is sitting in the room with him before he goes out to bat. It would be like a dream come true for him. So I'd like to see Louis de Villiers, being reincarnated back into South Africa in a way that it's supposed to be for that talent.
Yeah, guys, you must go look at our episode with Louis de Villiers on the channel. We did an interview with him, and he showed actually some interest in, if South Africa had to come for him and tell him that he has an opportunity to play international cricket, he would take it. So I'm going to try to get him on the I'll try to get him on the show again to have a chat with him and see how things are at the moment with the whole Kolpak situation. But that's an awesome nomination over there. Bye. Give me your nomination. Who do you think?
I'm going to take things super left field, and I'm going to say Grant Rulofson, because the way he went about in the Momentum One Day Cup, unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. I think he scored 147 and he hit 10 sixes in there. So he's an unbelievable talent. And considering he did that in his very first domestic season in franchise cricket, that makes it even more remarkable.
Grant is an amazing and another punt, guys. Go look at our episode on Grant Rulofson.
Yeah.
It's also in our lockdown series. So go check that in the playlist. Yes, Anu?
No, I absolutely agree on that. He also displays the BMT with the 1 or 2 matches that I did see him play. And you know what? Those, call me crazy, but those Afrikaans Okies, when they pull over South Africa or a Protea shirt, they play a lot better than if they play for, some Kolpak side or, domestically. It's very stereotypical of me saying, because a lot of players do that, but I always find that those Oaks, they really can step up. Like it would always be a good player to start out as an early age to excel. And of course, there are many, not just Afrikaner guys, but those oaks do not generally come from the system of the country club 20 normal schools conveyor belt that produces at 90% of the Proteas. So they had to fight already to just to get into a domestic type of setup. And it goes for, once again, for other players too. But a guy like Louis de Plooy and Grant Olofsson won't let you down. Like a Roger Klaassen and the likes of Peglo Kwayo. Those guys, you go back in the background somewhere in their life before they got, into the conveyor belt or into the system. They had to fight for something to get there. And that's what I'd like to know about the players' background, which gives us the advantage that we need to get silverware, not just win bilateral series.
So, Aditya, before I get to you, to give your choice, a fan has picked one, and he says, I hope this is not your one, Aditya, but he says Klaassen. He thinks that Klaassen, because he didn't really get an opportunity to really show his talent in the IPL when he was picked. He didn't really get many matches to actually prove himself. But Aditya, if you had to see a South African, who would it be, and who would you want to see?
As I said earlier in the show, I think I'd pick Aiden Markram should be in the IPL, definitely. And Virat Kohli has publicly applauded Aiden Markram for his performances, particularly during the 2018 series against Australia. Made a brilliant 143 in Durban. But I think if there's one player who I think should be in the IPL, it should be Mr. Thando Ntini.
You like Thando?
I would like to see what he has to offer an IPL franchise. I think he has a very bright future ahead.
That's interesting.
I think Chennai Super Kings are going to have their eyes on him.
Yeah. And he's also played for the Chennai Super Kings. Definitely.
I would like to see what he can do in the T20 format. Because I mean,
2 years from now, he'll be in IPL, I think.
We'll have to see him a little bit more in that MSL and see him what he can do. But guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks to all of you for tuning in. I will chat to you guys obviously again soon. And thanks for giving so many insights into everything and everything that we were talking about IPL.
Thanks, Khalid, for making this happen. Yeah,
no problem. Check you, Abai. Check you, Ravi.
Thank you.
Check you. Okay, cool. Thanks, Aditya. We're gonna obviously catch up again, and we're gonna chat about the next time and see what guests call in. We've been very lucky that we had quite a few guests today.
It was fun, eh?
Yeah, but it was a lot of fun. But I'm hoping that we can get more soon. So I'll chat to you again soon. I don't know if tomorrow, if there's gonna be South Africans that will perform. Let's see if those guys can really pull their weight and put up their hand. But thanks a lot for chatting to you, and I'll speak to you again soon.
Thank you. Cheers, man.
So, guys, that's all I have for you about the Proteas watch, etc. And this is what we had to say about AB de Villiers. Of course, Dale Steyn that performed today in the RCB match against Sunrisers Hyderabad. We'll catch up with you guys again soon when South Africans do perform again. Please go to the website. Of course, don't forget to go to the website to go see the highlights of AB de Villiers' innings. Also, his 6 that took him to his 206. Don't forget to, of course, or as always, like, comment, and share, subscribe. We need your guys' help on doing that. We need your likes to get into other people's recommended feeds. We need your comments, obviously, because this is your platform to express your views. And we would like you to please subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell for future videos. Don't also forget to download the latest issue of the magazine. We have a couple of issues available now, 3 issues available. Aiden Markram was on the last cover, and we're talking about Vision 2023. So please subscribe to the magazine. The link is on the screen and in the description below. Thanks to everybody for watching, and I'll see you guys very, very soon.